Hello everyone, this is Gavin Mountford here, founder of doubleyouronlineproductivity.com, and welcome to this overview video of the workflow that I use in my life and in my business. So basically I take stuff that comes into my mind, comes into my life, and I put it down on paper. I collect it, I capture it. I then take that information and put it into my in tray or my in basket. I then process the information, organize the information, and then do that information. And through that workflow, there's actually 5 phases to the workflow. Phase 4 is reviewing on a weekly basis. But through the workflow, I'm taking the information and the ideas that come into my mind, I'm converting them into projects, into action steps, into routines, into batches that I can then do on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. You know, some of the information that comes at me gets deleted, gets binned, gets referenced, gets saved for later, and basically I've got places I can keep things using the internet, using certain tools that I use that are very, very powerful for this, and make your life so much easier. Or I can add things into my folders that have got A to Z categories or certain areas that things go into, so I can reference them to find them later. Now, I don't have papers dotted around my desk, I don't have things all over the house like a lot of people do, because I've refined things so it's so much easier for me to be able to actually find the information when I need to and take important action on it when I need to. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take you through the actual workflow of Getting Things Done by David Allen, and this is something similar to what I use. I've adapted it very slightly for use on the internet because I run an internet business, and you may do as well. Or you may just want to use this to get your life under control, to get the random inputs that life throws at you on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and be able to make sense of everything that comes at you so you can deal with it on an ongoing basis. So I'm going to show you the actual workflow right now. So life basically throws random things at us. We get ideas in our head, we have ideas for projects, we might think of songs we want to collect so we can listen to them in the future. It might be someone's birthday, it might be you're working with somebody else and they ask you to do something, you might be in your day job. It's things that come at you all the time, so it's everything that comes at you: email, notes, to-dos, tasks, you know, lots of different things. That is called stuff, because at the moment we haven't defined what it is yet. That's the most important thing. So just stuff, random stuff that comes at you, things that are in your head. We take that stuff and we put it into our in basket. And again, in my 5-part video series that I've recorded specifically to go into a lot more detail of this, I show you exactly how to take the stuff and put it into your in basket, and then process it, organize it, review it, and then do that action. But for now, it goes into our in basket, and the first question we ask is, what is this? What is this thing that I have in front of me? Is it actionable? That is the second question to ask. Is it something you can do now? And from that, we've either got yes, we can do it now, or no, we can't. And when I say do it now, we'll come to that in a second, which is, will this take less than 2 minutes? Or if it's something that you can do, you then put it into a different area. We'll come back to that in a second. So is it actionable? No. So whatever I've got in my in basket is not actionable. I can't take action on it. So it could be something that goes straight in the bin, trash it, something that I want to store for later reference. It may be something I want to do in 3 months' time. It may be something I want to do next year. It may be a place, a restaurant. It may be a book I want to read. Something like that goes on my someday maybe list. Or it may be reference material. If it's reference material, it may go into my trusted system online that I store my information on, which again I talk about in the next video. It may want to go into my filing cabinet or my little filing box, which has got lettered, numbered numbers and letters and categories where things fit. So if it's not actionable, one of those things happens to it. Now, if it is actionable, the first question to ask is, what is the next physical action that I can take to move this forward or to complete it? And from that it comes to, will it take less than 2 minutes to do the action? If the answer is yes, then you do it right now. Because basically, if you're going to go through the next stage of this and you're going to put it into your system, you're going to schedule a reminder for it, then chances are it's going to take longer to get it into your system than it is to actually do it now. And that's what I do with email. You know, I go through my inbox, I process my emails, I look at the email. If it takes less than 2 minutes to do, I'll send a quick reply off to somebody to move that action. If it's going to take longer than that, I put it into another place where I then go and do that action later. So yes, we do it if it takes less than 2 minutes, and we finish that there. So that's the action done. We've got it out of our in basket. We've done the action within less than 2 minutes, finished, gone. If it's not doable within 2 minutes, then two things can happen to it. We can either delegate it to somebody else, because it may be something that somebody else needs to do, maybe a partner, maybe a child, maybe a work colleague or associate or a collaborative partner. Then we delegate it to that person, and we put it into a list called waiting for. And this basically means that I am still tracking that item, and I can check on it every week. If somebody hasn't got back to me with that item within the week, I'll follow up on them. I'll say, hey Steve, you know, I'm waiting for whatever it was I sent to them. How's it going? And I'll ask them. But I can check that, I can monitor it, I can track it in my own system. And this is so important when you're working with other people, or you're at work, or you've got collaborative projects going on, that you need to be able to track that very importantly in your own list. So once somebody's got back to you with that, then you can check it off, you can tick it, yes, it's done, finished, gone, out the way. And you've leveraged your time here because you've delegated it to somebody else. Next thing is, no, if it doesn't take less than 2 minutes, you can defer it. So you'll do it at a later stage, a later time, when you're not in your kind of processing and organizing mode. So if you defer it, you put it onto a next action list, and then we use something called contexts, which I'll talk about more in detail in another video. But we'll put it into a context where, if I'm in my office, then I can do that item. If I'm in town, then I can buy a certain item. If I am ready to make phone calls, and I look in my phone calls context and I see all the phone calls that I can make very, very quickly. Defer it to a calendar to do at a specific time, and I can schedule that in my calendar, and I will do it at a specific time. So it may be a doctor's appointment, it may be a follow-up call, it may be something that I have to do at an exact time, so it needs to then go into my calendar. So we come back up the diagram, back up the workflow. So yes, the item's actionable, but this action is actually going to take more than one step to finish, to complete, to get it done. So what is the next action? So we've asked that question, we've come down here, we've completed this, but this time the action is going to take more than one action to complete. So it's basically going to be a project. And you may be used to, just as I was, you'd think a project is something huge, something with lots of things to do. You know, it may take a week, it may take a month, it may take 6 months, it may take a year. That's kind of the general definition of what a lot of people class a project as. But what we class a project as is anything that needs more than one step, one action step to actually complete. So something that's going to take you 2 steps 2 or 3 steps is going to be a project. It's kind of a mini project, but it's still classed as a project. So we put this and we need to plan a project from that. And again, that is a completely separate video, a completely separate topic, but we now put it into a project and we list what our next action is. So we would then brainstorm, we would use mind mapping software, we would write things down, I would put it into my trusted system, into my tools where I can reference my project plans in the future, and then I'll review that for action. So I'll go through my project plans and I'll take out key milestones or key results, and I'll transfer that to my to-do planner, which is in my project. And then under each of those key results, I will take the next physical action that I can do. Now, an example of the next physical action, let's say you had to phone John, who had your car in the garage. So John's the guy at the garage. You need to phone John to get your car booked in. Okay, so you'd think, okay, well, the next physical action is phone John. Great. So you pick up the phone, you go, I don't have the phone number of John. So actually the next physical action would be find phone number of John, and then the next action would be call John. So you would, if you needed to go online, it would be go to Google, find phone number for John. So you'd do that, you'd make a note of it, and the second action would be to actually call John. Now that's a great example of something that would probably take less than 2 minutes to do. So you'd go into Google, you'd type in the name of the garage, you'd find it, then you'd put it onto your phone calls list, which is something you would do later. So we've defined the next action, we've worked out it's going to take longer than 2 steps. It's now a project, whether it's a mini project or a large project. We've put it into our system, we have our project plans, and we've then reviewed our project plans for the actions that we need to take, and we have decided what is the next action we need to take, the next physical action, and then the workflow starts again. So yes, you can do it in less than 2 minutes, so you do it, or you delegate it, defer it. And you know, a lot of my projects tend to be deferred until later. And you know, I do my weekly plan, I do my weekly my weekly review, I do my weekly plan, I have my goals, and I kind of work that way. But this is basically the workflow, the first stage of how I operate in my business, in my life. And it's something that takes time to do, but you get better at it. It's little bits at little bits of time, and each of these things makes you so much more productive. It allows you to get so many more things done in your life and in your business, and it allows you to focus on the things that are right for you and not be distracted by all this other stuff that's going on. So basically you're making sense of the most important things, that everything that comes to you, you're making sense, you're putting it into your basket, and then you're going through this process, these questions, to ultimately define your next actions and plan out your projects in advance, so you get more done, you're more effective, you can spend more time, more quality time with your family, with your partner, with the people you love, and rather than trying to do work that you think you're doing but you're not really achieving anything. So getting this down, understanding this model, it takes time. It's like mastery. I committed to mastery a long time ago. You know, if I'm going to master something, if I'm going to be successful, if I'm going to have a multi-million pound or multi-million dollar business, then what I said to myself was, I need to master certain skills, and we'll talk about mastery more in detail later. So if you have any questions regarding this workflow, leave a comment under the video, leave a comment under the blog post, leave a comment wherever you find this video. Ask me the question, come over to doubleYourOnlineProductivity.com or over to gavinmountford.com. You can submit your 30-minute business assessment or feedback, and we can speak on the phone. You know, I'll talk you through this, I'll tell you what to do next, or I'll give you advice or question or consult or coach with you to help you understand this and the whole productivity model, because there's a lot to it, but it is so important to make sure you're doing the right things at the right time. So this is Gavin Mountford from gavinmountford.com and wonlineproductivity.com. Feel free to share this video with anybody else that may be struggling with this kind of thing and needs some kind of assistance to make it all work and to get more done. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.